I pulled into Jessica's driveway in my old Ford, the engine coughing like it had bronchitis. The paint was faded, the bumper held on with duct tape, and one headlight pointed slightly toward the ground. I didn't care. This car meant something to me that no one else could understand. Jessica's mother, Patricia, stood on the porch with her arms crossed. The second she saw my car, her face twisted into something between disgust and amusement. Then she laughed. Not a polite chuckle, but a loud, mocking laugh that echoed across the entire neighborhood. "Is that thing even legal to drive?" she called out, her voice dripping with contempt. Jessica appeared behind her and I waited for her to defend me. Instead, she looked down at her shoes and smiled, just a little, but I saw it. Patricia walked closer, circling my car like a predator. "This looks like a scrapyard donation. Sweetheart, if he can't afford a real car, he can't afford you." She said it loud enough for me to hear. She wanted me to hear it. Dinner at their house was worse. Patricia invited me in, but only to continue the humiliation. She sat across from me at the dining table, cutting her steak with exaggerated precision, and started her interrogation. "So what do you do for work?" she asked, though her tone suggested she already decided I was worthless. "I manage operations for a private company," I said calmly. She smirked. "Operations, that's a fancy way of saying assistant, isn't it?" Jessica said nothing. She just pushed food around her plate. Under the table, I saw her phone light up. She glanced at it and smiled, actually smiled, while her mother tore me apart. Her fingers moved quickly, typing something. I tried to see, but she angled the screen away. That smile wasn't for me. I knew it in my gut. The message she was sending, whoever it was for, it wasn't me. After dinner, Jessica excused herself to the bathroom. She left her phone on the couch, screen still glowing. I shouldn't have looked, but something told me I needed to. I picked it up, no password, the screen showed a group chat. The name at the top made my blood run cold. Upgrading soon, winking face. I scrolled up. Messages from Jessica and Patricia filled the screen. "Patricia, how much longer are you going to drag this out?" "Jessica, just a little longer. I need to see what he's hiding first." "Patricia, if there's nothing, dump him. You deserve better." Then I saw a third name in the chat. My stomach dropped. It was Trevor, the guy from her office, the one she always called like a brother, the one I trusted. Trevor's messages were the worst. "He'll never see it coming," he wrote. Jessica replied with a laughing emoji. My hands shook as I took screenshots. Every message, every cruel joke, every plan they'd made behind my back. I saved it all to a cloud backup, then placed her phone exactly where I found it. When Jessica came back, I smiled at her. "Everything okay?" she asked, suspicious. "Perfect," I said. She studied my face for a moment, then sat down next to me like nothing had happened. I wrapped my arm around her shoulders, feeling the weight of every lie between us. I didn't confront her, not yet. I had a better plan. Later that night, Patricia asked me to drive her home. She lived only 10 minutes away, but those 10 minutes felt like an eternity. She sat in the passenger seat, wrinkling her nose at the torn upholstery. "You know, dignity starts with how you present yourself. This car says everything about you." I gripped the steering wheel tighter. A man who drives junk like this has no future, no ambition, no class. I'd had enough. "You'd be surprised," I said quietly, "what I can actually afford." Her head snapped toward me. "What's that supposed to mean?" I didn't answer. I just stared straight ahead, my expression unreadable. She watched me the rest of the drive, her eyes narrowed, calculating. She didn't say another word, but I could see her mind racing. The next few days, Jessica's behavior changed. She became sweeter, too sweet. She'd randomly hug me, call me pet names she never used before, and insist on spending more time at my place. But I noticed things. She'd wander around my apartment when she thought I wasn't watching, opening drawers, checking mail, looking through my desk. One afternoon, my phone buzzed while I was in the shower. I came out to find Jessica staring at the screen, her face pale. The message was from Trevor. Is she still dragging this out? She looked up at me, panic flashing across her face. Your phone went off. I didn't mean to. It's fine, I said calmly, taking the phone from her hand. Just work stuff. But we both knew the walls were closing in. I spent the next week quietly gathering everything I needed. I called my lawyer. I reviewed contracts. I checked security footage from my private office. I stopped reacting to Jessica's sweetness. I didn't argue. I didn't ask questions. I just observed. She noticed the change. You've been quiet lately, she said one night, her voice uneasy. Just thinking, I replied. About what? I smiled. About the future. She forced a smile back, but her hands were shaking. My phone buzzed, a calendar alert. Patricia's birthday party Saturday, 7 p.m. Jessica leaned over. You're still coming, right? Wouldn't miss it, I said. Her relief was visible. She thought she still had control. She had no idea what was coming. The next morning, I drove to the office building I actually owned. Employees greeted me by name as I walked through the marble lobby. I took the private elevator to the underground garage. Inside were 6 cars, a Lamborghini, a Porsche, a vintage Aston Martin, a McLaren, a Rolls-Royce, and one empty space. I stared at the empty spot, my jaw tight. One of my cars was missing. I pulled out my phone and opened the security app. The footage loaded slowly. When it finally played, I saw exactly what I expected. Jessica and Trevor, laughing as they climbed into my McLaren and drove off. I didn't panic. I didn't call the police. I called my lawyer instead. They took the McLaren, I said. My lawyer, Vincent, didn't sound surprised. Do you want to press charges now? Not yet. When? I thought about Patricia's birthday party, the perfect audience, the perfect moment. Saturday, I said. Let them enjoy the car until then. Vincent chuckled. You're cruel. No, I said, I'm fair. The McLaren was registered as company property. Taking it without permission was grand theft. Jessica didn't know that. Neither did Trevor. They thought they were clever. They thought they'd gotten away with it. They had no idea they just walked into a trap. Saturday arrived. Jessica texted me that morning. Can you take an Uber to the party? I don't want you to embarrass me with that old car. I stared at the message for a long moment, then typed back. Sure, no problem. She sent back a heart emoji. I got dressed in a simple button-down and jeans. Nothing fancy, nothing that would draw attention. Then I walked out to the garage and looked at my father's old Ford, the car Patricia had mocked, the car Jessica was ashamed of. I ran my hand along the hood, remembering the day my father gave it to me before he passed. This car will teach you who people really are, he'd said. He was right. I climbed inside and started the engine. It coughed to life, rough and loud. I wasn't taking an Uber. I pulled up to Patricia's house just as the party was in full swing. Cars lined the street, expensive cars, new cars, cars that screamed status. And then there was mine. I parked right in front, where everyone could see. Patricia spotted me immediately. Her face twisted in disbelief, then fury. You actually drove that thing here, she shouted, loud enough for the entire party to hear. Guests turned, some laughed, others whispered. Jessica rushed over, her face red. I told you to take an Uber. I know, I said calmly, but I wanted to bring something sentimental. Patricia circled my car again just like she had weeks ago. This is humiliating. You're humiliating my daughter. I nodded, I understand. Then red and blue lights flashed at the end of the street. 2 police cars pulled up. The officers stepped out and walked straight toward the house. The party went silent. "We're looking for Trevor Hayes," one of them said. Trevor's face went white. He tried to back toward the door, but the officers were faster. "Trevor Hayes, you're under arrest for grand theft auto." Jessica gasped. "What? No, there's been a mistake." The officer ignored her. They cuffed Trevor right there on the lawn while everyone watched. Jessica grabbed my arm. "Do something, tell them it's a mistake." I looked at her calmly. Why would I help the man who stole my car? Her face froze. Patricia's mouth fell open. The entire party stared. Trevor was shoved into the back of the police car, and the crowd erupted in whispers. Jessica's hands trembled as she turned to me. "What are you talking about? What car?" I pulled out my phone and opened the screenshots. The group chat, upgrading soon, winking face. Every message, every joke, every betrayal. I held the screen up so Patricia could see too. Her face drained of color. "You took that out of context," Patricia screamed. The guests moved closer, reading over my shoulder. Jessica tried to grab my phone. "Stop it, you're twisting everything." I pulled it back. I opened the next file. Audio recordings. Conversations I'd saved from dinners, car rides, moments when they thought I couldn't hear. Patricia's voice filled the air, mocking my father's car, calling me worthless, encouraging Jessica to trade up. The crowd turned on them. Whispers became murmurs, murmurs became accusations. "You want context," I said, my voice steady. "Let me give you the full picture." I walked to the street. A truck had just pulled up, towing something large covered by a black tarp. The driver stepped out, nodded at me and released the straps. I grabbed the corner of the tarp and pulled. The fabric slid off, revealing a gleaming midnight blue hypercar, a Bugatti Chiron, worth over $3 million. The entire party gasped. Patricia's knees nearly buckled. Jessica covered her mouth, her eyes wide with shock. "This," I said, "is one of 6 cars I own. The McLaren Trevor stole is another." The crowd exploded in whispers. Phones came out. Pictures were snapped. Patricia stammered, You lied to us." "No," I said, "I just didn't tell you the truth." I walked back toward the crowd, and they parted like I was royalty. "You want to know why I drove that old Ford?" I asked, pointing at my father's car. No one answered. "Because it was my father's. He gave it to me the week before he died. He told me to keep it to remember where I came from." Patricia's face crumbled. "You mocked it, you mocked him. You mocked everything that car represented." Jessica reached for me. "I didn't know." "You didn't care to know," I cut her off. "You cared about what I could give you." I turned to the crowd. I hid my wealth to see who would value me, not my money, and I found out exactly who she was. The crowd murmured in agreement, some even clapped. I pulled out my phone one last time. "There's more," I said. I played the final recording. Jessica and Trevor weeks ago planning everything. Marriage, divorce, asset division. Jessica's voice clear as day. "Once we're married, I'll have access to everything. Then we're done." Trevor's laugh, "Easy money." The crowd turned fully against them now, angry shouts, gasps of disgust. Patricia tried to speak, but no one would listen. Jessica's face was soaked in tears, but they weren't tears of remorse. They were tears of being caught. I looked at her one last time. "You didn't mock my car," I said. "You mocked my character, and that's something I'll never forgive." I turned and walked toward the Bugatti. Behind me, chaos erupted. People yelling, Patricia sobbing, Jessica screaming my name. I didn't look back. I climbed into the driver's seat, the leather cool against my skin. The engine roared to life, a sound that silenced the entire street. As I pulled away, I glanced in the rearview mirror. My father's old Ford sat alone in the driveway, battered and worn. But it had done its job. It had shown me the truth. Jessica called 47 times that night. I didn't answer. Patricia left voicemails, alternating between rage and desperate apologies. I deleted them. Trevor was officially charged. The stolen McLaren was returned. My lawyer sent Jessica a cease and desist letter. She was not to contact me again. I didn't feel victorious. I didn't feel angry. I just felt free. A week later, I sold my father's old Ford to a collector who appreciated its history. He promised to restore it and keep it running. I kept a photo of it on my desk, not as a reminder of betrayal, but as a reminder of what matters. Character, integrity, truth. The things money can't buy, and fake people can't fake. Months passed. I heard through mutual friends that Jessica moved to another city. Patricia became a pariah in her social circle. Trevor served time. I moved on. I met someone new, someone who saw my father's photo on my desk and asked about him, someone who valued the story, not the status. And when I told her everything, she didn't ask about the cars. She asked about the man who raised me. That's when I knew. Some people see your worth, others see your wallet. The old car taught me how to tell the difference. And I'll never forget that lesson. If you've ever been underestimated, mocked, or judged because of what you drive, where you live, or how much you earn, then you know exactly how this story feels. Nobody deserves to be humiliated for their circumstances. Nobody deserves to be used, manipulated, or treated like they're not enough. So before you scroll, tell me this. Has anyone ever judged you without knowing your worth? Did someone laugh at you only to regret it later? Share your story in the comments. Your voice might help someone else feel less alone. If this story made you feel something, if it angered you, if it made you cheer, if it reminded you of your own value, then do one thing for me. Hit like so this reaches more people who need this reminder. Subscribe so you don't miss the next story. And comment if you've ever had a moment of truth where someone finally realized your real worth. Because sometimes the old car is just a disguise. The real power is you.